Have you ever felt like people react to you in ways you can't quite explain? If you have a strong personality, chances are you've noticed some people gravitate toward you, while others seem to bristle. Let's face it, not everyone knows how to handle a force of nature. For men, your strength might make you magnetic to some women, but leave other men feeling, let's say, a little jealous. For women, a strong, confident personality, as studies show, can be perceived as a threat to some men, while others find it irresistibly appealing. The truth is, having a strong, intimidating personality isn't about being harsh or cold. It's about carrying an undeniable presence that commands respect and attention. But here's the catch. If you don't realize why people react to you the way they do, you might misread situations or even doubt yourself. So today, we're uncovering 9 signs you have a strong, intimidating personality. These insights will help you recognize your power and learn how to navigate the world with confidence and grace. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get started. Number 1. You prefer to be rational rather than follow the crowd. There's something truly remarkable, and at times intimidating, about people who choose reason over conformity. You're the person others might turn to for an objective perspective, unclouded by emotions or social pressures. But this choice, while admirable, can sometimes make you a figure of intimidation in the eyes of others. Imagine this scenario: a lively group conversation where everyone agrees, nodding along to maintain harmony. But you, instead of just blending in, ask questions, not to argue, but to clarify. You highlight contradictions, back up your points with evidence and logic, and suddenly the mood shifts. Some feel enlightened, but others might feel threatened by your sharp approach. German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "A man is loved by others to the extent that he moderates his claims upon their good feeling and intelligence." This explains why showing rationality can isolate you at times. Most people, especially those not emotionally mature, prefer to feel right rather than confront the uncomfortable truth of irrational beliefs. You may have been labeled as a know-it-all or a spoilsport, but that's just how some people cope with their insecurities when faced with stark truths. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It simply means the way you present the truth makes others uncomfortable. And this is where Stoic philosophy can serve as a guiding principle. Stoicism teaches us that pursuing truth and reason is not about overpowering others, but about seeking clarity and improvement. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "Truth does not hurt, it only needs to be presented kindly." So, when presenting your arguments, remember that the goal isn't to win a debate, but to open minds to new perspectives. At the same time, choosing reason doesn't mean dismissing emotions. Balancing rationality with compassion is what makes you truly strong. Instead of relying solely on arguments, try putting yourself in others' shoes to understand why they think the way they do. This not only helps you communicate your perspective more effectively, but also fosters relationships built on respect. When you stand firm in your principles, those who value truth will see you as a source of inspiration, a guiding light. But keep in mind, not everyone is ready to face the truth, and that's okay. True strength lies not just in holding on to your beliefs, but in using the truth to build, not destroy. Let your rationality become a beacon, not just for yourself, but for those around you. 2. The validation of others isn't important to you. There's an invisible yet powerful strength in freeing yourself from the need for others' approval. If you're someone who doesn't require anyone else's validation to make decisions, you've reached a level of self-awareness and independence that many can only aspire to. You act because you believe it's the right thing to do, not because someone else has given you the green light. Picture this: your friend suggests a Friday night outing, but you decline, not because you don't like them, but because you're focused on finishing a personal project or simply need time to recharge. You feel no need to apologize or worry they'll think you're boring. It's your decision, and you're perfectly content with it. This level of self-assurance might earn admiration from some, but it could also make others uncomfortable. As philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer pointed out, this trait reflects emotional maturity and profound self-awareness. When you don't need others to validate your choices, you've crossed the threshold of dependence on social approval. This doesn't mean you're indifferent or uncaring. It means you understand your value and know what aligns with your beliefs, regardless of external consensus. However, not everyone will appreciate this. Some might perceive your lack of need for validation as arrogance or aloofness. They might mistake your independence as a dismissal of their worth, when in reality, it's an affirmation of your own. This can create discomfort, especially for those who rely heavily on others' approval. Stoicism teaches that true autonomy comes from focusing on what you can control and releasing what you cannot. When you don't seek validation from others, you're practicing a higher form of mental freedom. You're grounded in your actions and beliefs rather than being swayed by societal expectations. But how do you maintain this balance? On one hand, you don't want to become so detached that you lose the ability to connect with others. On the other, you don't want to let their opinions dictate your path. The answer lies in respectfully listening to others, but ultimately staying rooted in your values and decisions. This is the delicate balance between living authentically and fostering meaningful relationships. By living without the need for external validation, you not only inspire others, but also encourage them to find their own inner strength. This trait is not just admirable, it's rare. Instead of seeking approval, let your actions and values speak for themselves. This independence is the foundation of your strength, and when wielded wisely, it becomes a beacon for others to follow. 3. You have strong moral codes. People with strong moral codes stand out, not because they want to, but because they simply can't do otherwise. In a world where flexibility is often valued over integrity, these individuals become a glaring reflection of what sets them apart. They are not easily swayed by temptations or subtle manipulations, making them both admirable and intimidating. Imagine a leader in a company who isn't captivated by superficial charm or flattery. An employee, accustomed to gaining advantages through smooth talking, suddenly realizes they can't hide their shortcomings from this boss. The failed attempts at manipulation not only leave the employee flustered, but also cultivate deep respect for the leader. Those with strong moral codes compel others to confront their own flaws, sometimes by exposing the weaknesses they try to conceal. In today's society, where bending the rules is sometimes celebrated as cleverness, people with unwavering moral standards are often seen as unrealistic. But it's precisely this distinction that makes them intimidating. They don't conform to a culture of compromise or follow the tides of corruption. They quietly disrupt an order where almost everything seems negotiable. Stoic philosophy teaches that integrity isn't about public displays of virtue, but a profound inner state. It remains steadfast in the face of pressure, temptation, or scrutiny. When you live by strong moral principles, you're not only building value for yourself, but also inspiring others. However, be prepared for pushback from those accustomed to compromise. As Denzel Washington once said, "Some people will never like you because your spirit disturbs their demons." So, how do you uphold your moral codes without isolating yourself? It's crucial to understand that staying true to your values doesn't mean imposing them on others. You don't need to prove anything. Instead, let your actions speak for themselves. True integrity